I'd played with a few players that had done it before, and it was something that I was just quite interested in terms of, I'm not sure if I necessarily want to be a manager, but it was something I definitely want to stay within the industry. So kind of look and see what the inner workings of a football club and what a manager has to deal with and the other roles within football clubs really interested me. So it was something that I just wanted to go and explore and study for a year at it.
And you mentioned there that you've played with a few boys that have been on this course. What sort of information did you learn about it? Is there anything that's particularly surprised you?
I think they just had said that it's quite insightful. It's stuff that you didn't really think. And I think everyone that's been on the course, guys and the girls, that are saying that it's just loads of stuff that you maybe just didn't even realise would have to work, the way you have to deal with the relationship with the fans, with the board, with other areas within the football club. So yeah, it's just really, as I said, insightful to try and get at that information, and there's just so much information that you can take in. It feels at times a bit daunting, but yeah, no, it's been really good, and I've really enjoyed it.
And a few of the guys you mentioned, it's been good sort of learning off each other as well. There's obviously guys up there that have played at different levels and have had different experiences. What would you say about that structure in terms of the blend between online learning and in person, and also obviously the environment you're in?
Yeah, I think the online sessions are a wee bit more difficult. I like when we're in person and you're meeting the guys and the girls, that even getting in. Brian's obviously played and worked in the women's game, but then hearing it from the women directly, it's really, and their views are a wee bit more different to ours. It's just different experiences. It's really good just hearing everyone, and I think when you're in person, it's a lot more engaging and people are giving their opinion and there's a bit of back and forth, which is really good. And I feel like you learn much more than just maybe sitting on a Zoom and not concentrating, or just it's really good to learn off people and hear their views that maybe you didn't have similar to.
Has there been anything as part of the course so far that's had an impact on you that changed maybe the way you think about your career life after football?
I think the Dougie had come in and spoken a lot on the relationship, and it was just his involvement with the board. Just that you do deal with that side daily, and it's you think that you're just on the pitch putting on sessions trying to build a style of play for the team and get results, but you're having to deal with everything behind the scene. So it was that. There's so much information, and the way Stevie and Tim take it, even the finance session, even looking into that and just having a wee bit of a smaller insight and understanding of what it actually is. It's really interesting.
And you might be quite well placed to sort of have a good understanding of what I call it, ecosystem in Scottish football, in terms of how quickly things can change to the levels, whether it be part-time clubs that adopt a hybrid system, full-time clubs in the Premiership, and all the different demands and expectations of that. When you come into this course and you've learned a bit more about behind the scenes, does it maybe change your perspective a little bit on what you've experienced so far?
No, I think there's parts that you can now understand why a club was the way it was, with relationships between board and staff and then management. You can now see how that could break down. You could also see why you're maybe not attracting as good players because the finance constraints that the club's going through. So yeah, there's been loads that I've taken away that now is starting to kind of make more sense when I've been at certain clubs and seen how they've run. And it also is really showing me how when you're at a really well-run club, you can tell, and everyone's on the same page. They're all striving in the same way forward. Financially, they're stable, and I now kind of starting to really understand why certain clubs were one way and why certain clubs are the other.
And do you think it'll have any impact on your playing career in terms of being able to, as you just said, assess things a little bit differently, and maybe even if you're picking your next club or you're deciding on which direction you're going in, do you think it'll have an impact there?
Yeah, definitely. I think before I did the course, I was doing my badges anyway, and I was not as sure that I wanted to go forward with it. But now, having done the course, or doing the course currently, just the skills that I feel like we're starting to learn or gain are just makes me now view certain things within when I turn up for training and the way things are set up and how the weeks are structured and what's going on. I think it has made me view football a bit more, but I also think that's maybe also as I'm just getting a wee bit older, and when you're younger you just kind of turn up and put your boots on and play. But yeah, I think it's helping me now get a wider understanding of what's really going on.
And how valuable has it been learning about the more sort of business and operational side of football, so stuff like the finances and strategy and all that sort of stuff? You had any sort of experience learning about that before?
No, not at all. And that was that was really interesting. The finance one was, after it was, you had to sit down in a darkened room because it was quite a lot of information and quite a lot to take on. But as I said, it gives you just a basic understanding of how a football club runs and where their different streams of income are coming from and revenue and whatnot. So yeah, no, it's been good, and I think there's some more sessions that are going to come up, like media law within the football, that are just all going to be really interesting. And yeah, it just makes me think that it's definitely an industry that I want to stay in.
And I think maybe a lot of players might look at courses such as this and think it's maybe a little bit too academic, given if they've not maybe dipped their toes into that sort of stuff before. Now that you're halfway through, firstly, have you done many other things like this before in terms of the academic side? And secondly, is this something you would push to other players now in terms of it's not too daunting?
Yeah, I'd previously done an Open University course before this and finished in 2020, so I have done some academic stuff before, but I think there is an element of, like we had to do, obviously doing the presentations today, we had to do a report earlier on, but I think there's not, Stevie's so great that he puts there's no pressure, he knows that people are at different areas they've done a lot of work or they've done none, so he's very understanding and he's no pressure, so I think anyone that's looking to do it and that's their worry, I would say don't worry about it. You'll just gain more and more experience. And as I said, you're looking at the presentations today. It was only 2 before me, but there was loads that I took from that you'll learn throughout the course. So it's not always just the academic stuff that's a course brings. It's the relationships and what you see other fellow pros doing.
Brilliant. And lastly, you just touched there on the presentations, obviously just fresh off yours. One might suggest with football players that they've had a lot of experience in terms of getting up in front of people or being in front of the camera for media. How much of a different environment is that, and why do you think it can be one of the trickier parts of the course that you're doing?
I think it's just the vulnerability of it. You're standing up, and now obviously we have a relationship with these guys. I played with Brian, and obviously know a lot of the guys from playing against them. But it's all very well and good standing talking in a changing room in front of boys. But when it's on research that we've done, you feel a wee bit more vulnerable. But I think having now done it, I feel a sense of achievement, and it's just these skills that you learn moving forward, that if I have to go and do a presentation in front of a club, if I'm wanting to interview for a manager or whatever role, it's these kind of skills that you're learning, and hopefully moving forward it's ones that will continue to improve and you'll only get better and better.